Let me say something about body dysmorphia. I spent a lot of time reading clinical material about body dysmorphia and reading clinical material about running groups for young people and elderly people on how to deal with, issues around body dysmorphia, whether it's, body dysmorphia or facial dysmorphia, how we see ourselves is such an important thing. And regardless of the amount of time in training that I spend and the time in reading that I spend, it never feels like it's enough information for me when talking about body dysmorphia, because everybody deals with it differently and everyone is coping with it differently, and it's always something different for everybody. It's never, one very similar thing. Yes, you can look at the DSM-5 TR and read the criteria and, come up with, all the things on the list that make it sound like it's similar. But everybody's struggle is individual. And the one thing I know is that when, we say things to each other that are unpleasant or unkind about the way we look, right? And we don't call those out and we don't address them directly, those things have a tendency to sit in a person's brain far longer than anything that's said that's positive. And the reason is because our brain does focus on negative input. And that's just part of the human condition. We're trained to look for and process a lot of the negative input because that's part of the survival of our species. And, but in a civilized society, a lot of the times it's just not helpful. And it's not helpful to body shame people. It's not helpful to put into a hierarchy of physicality, like I look better than you, and, I was born pretty and you weren't, or, you're an ugly son of a what have you, and, you should mind your place. I think we'd all be surprised if we thought about the bullying and we examine the level of bullying that goes along, that's connected with body dysmorphia. And like I said, I spent a lot of time thinking about it because I know that when, dealing with even a lot of the veterans and the clients I've already dealt with, it's always come up. How people feel about themselves, how people feel about their face and their body. For a lot of years when I was younger, I didn't have mirrors in my apartment. And my wife now was like, how come you don't got any mirrors in your place? And it's like, because I don't want to see myself in the morning. I don't want to see